All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the recap. I am Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz. I told you so. Rocking the Gino shirt today,
Yes.
as always. Got to represent. Please support your local wrestlers.
Independent wrestlers. Love it.
Yeah.
Gino, you're the man, bro.
Gino is the man. But we are here to talk about Raw and SmackDown from this past week as we continue to go barreling towards, what is it, the Bash at Berlin, I guess we'll call it.
I was going to say Bash at the Beach, but yeah, Bash at Berlin.
I keep almost calling it the Bash at the Beach because I was like, there's the Bash at the Beach. So the Bash at Berlin's messing with me a little bit, which is fast approaching in a couple of weeks now. We'll be rounding the corner to it. But let's talk through what happened on Monday Night Raw. Big D, what happened?
So yeah, I mean we had Rhea open the show, which was a huge pop. I mean, people just I think she stood there in the ring for like a couple minutes while the crowd just continuously cheered her on, which was the big pop we expected her to have going forward. Now that she's out of Judgment Day,
she's a face now,
done with Dom. Yeah, she's a face now. So of course she just kind of ran down, Liv, and talking, smacking to her and saying that she can't run, she can't hide from her, this and that, Dom, whatever. And then lots of words were spoken, guys. I'm not gonna just go back and watch it if you really want to know what she said.
If you really want to know, it was all mean things about Dom, basically.
Yeah. So the gist of it is she's relieved she's rid of Dom, and now her eyes are set on that title and Liv. To which you hear Liv laughing, and her and Dom are up at the top of the ramp, the stairs where the crowd is.
Stairs,
up at the nosebleeds there. See, if you pay for the nosebleeds, you might just be chilling with Dom and Liv. So there you go. So they were out there, laughing it off, talking smack, Liv bragging about how she took everything from her, including the Judgment Day, which we again said was the whole plan, right? So that happened, and then Rhea just kind of like egged her on, let her keep talking, and it was inevitable. She says, I'm glad you came out because now, we know where you are. And then Dom's like, then of course, a little callback to the Boneyard match with AJ Styles and Undertaker. You have Damian Priest just walk into picture behind them, and they do the whole like, he's behind us.
It was a little cartoony when it happened, but you knew it was coming.
It works.
She's like, we just needed to find you, and it was like, what? And they're both like, what do you mean? And while he's standing right behind them, which is fine.
Yeah, so it was an interesting one. Yeah, so Damian Priest just beats Dom all the way down, and Liv tries to run, but then sees Rhea coming her way, so then she books it the other way. Eventually gets away, leaves Dom to himself, and Damian Priest is about to destroy him. Carlito comes out and interferes, of course. Why? Because Carlito and Damian have a match.
How convenient. It just worked out that way. It's like we're going right into the match.
And they did. So they did. And of course, Damian Priest just, beats up Carlito, ends it with the South of Heaven. And then after that, all of the Judgment Day comes out. Because all of a sudden, Rhea's gone. She just left. She's like, all right, cool. Liv's not here, so I'm out.
Yeah.
And she took off. And then, of course, Judgment Day jumps Damian Priest at the end of it and Liv's back. So then Rhea comes back out again, which is funny. I thought it was funny because they still hit her music again.
Yeah,
and the crowd still popped.
Because everybody else was just running out, doing ambushes and no music hit. And then you hear this is my brutality. I was like, why did they cue her music again? She couldn't just go back out.
Just come back out. You should have just been chilling in Gorilla.
Get the sound guy. Cue it up. She's like standing behind the curtain waiting. It's like, no, Damian needs your help. Come on.
Like, hold on. I gotta find your music again. Hold on. I
was playing Carlitos now. Let me go back. I'm like, that was a little strange, but she made it back out.
But she did. So again, the match really all they did was to further the storyline, kind of set up the inevitable, which we knew was going to come, which is the mixed tag match at the Bash at Berlin with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, the Terror Twins, against Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. So
this sounds like a huge mismatch on paper already. But it was obvious, and you're right. Completely set the table for this one. This probably was actually one of the better matches of the night. Was Carlito versus
it was a good match.
It was really a good match. I wasn't wild about the matches on Raw, so that one was pretty close to being my match of the night.
Yeah, that one was good. Yeah. And what it's good because Carlito, he's a good. Sorry, I'm just mixing my coffee here. I do drink it black, and sometimes stuff settles. But
there you go.
At the same time, I feel that Carlito is a great. Again, he's a vet. He's been around the game. He's been a heel, and he just works well with anybody. Really, I mean, you put him in against anybody, and he does great. You know, making Damian Priest look good while not making himself look weak, which is a rare trait. As odd as hard as y'all may not think that is, it's actually very hard to do. Not make yourself look weak. So that was interesting. Speaking of interesting, we had the debut of Odyssey Jones with the New Day behind him,
officially
coming out. Yeah, to just destroy a jobber. Poor guy, Vincent Whiny, I think is his name. Yeah, Whiny, or however you say it.
Yeah, I was like whiny. I was like whiny, and then when it happened, I was like, this is clearly a squash match because Whiny was already out in the ring, ready to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we needed to see a squash. Like, I think everybody knows Odyssey Jones is a bad man. So
well, I mean, the fact that he did that double sidewalk slam on the Authors of Pain, I'm like, I mean, that's all we needed. I mean, I guess we just need to see him destroy somebody in the ring. So that happened, and then of course out comes the Final Testament, and they come out to say, you know, Xavier, when are you going to learn? Kofi's replacing you. He's not replacing Big E, and this and that. Again, setting doubt. It's interesting because Xavier seems to be buying into it little by little, and Kofi keeps taking the mic from him. So Kofi just actually, I think they were going to do like a Kofi and Xavier versus, you know, Authors of Pain or versus Karrion Kross and a partner of his choosing. But then Kofi rips the mic out and says 3-on-3 6-man tag match, you know, to
He's
include
like, I got
Odyssey
a better
Jones.
idea, and it was like a better idea. And so they're doing the whole they keep
little
poking
things
at this. Yeah.
I honestly, I thought this was going to be the turn for Xavier Woods because if you notice, Odyssey Jones and Kofi were talking trash, and Xavier kind of took a step back. It kind of reminded me of the Shield with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for a chair to come out, but no, he didn't. It was okay. So
he did.
But yeah,
I mean, this one you can kind of see coming from a mile away. It's like they're really pushing it towards the New Day breakup because it sounds like Big E's probably not coming back, unfortunately.
No, I think his career's over. Unfortunately,
unfortunately,
that
which is
messed up neck.
A huge bummer. And I think, and they even referenced that like Odyssey Jones isn't here to replace Big E; he's here to replace Xavier Woods. Is what Karrion Kross kind of threw out there. So that's a bummer. Hopefully, you know, and it's more important. Biggie said he's in a good place. They interviewed him. He's like, I'm happy with my career. I'm in a good place. I feel good. But it doesn't sound like
he still looks great. I mean, that man is freaking huge. Like, holy crap. But yeah, so hopefully, I mean, I would love to see Big E return to the ring. I'm still waiting for that intro to hit with Big E on the mic, but you know, it is what it is. He does the pre-shows. They still have him involved, and I'm glad to see that because he is a great personality as well. I think he just has a natural knack, so I think that's awesome. Definitely. So speaking of telegraphing, must be the theme of the night. You had a backstage segment before that where Ivy Nile approached Alpha Academy and just kind of talked to Maxine Dupree and was like, "You got to come with me, come on." And she's like, "No, I'm gonna stay here." And she's like, "Okay, if that's what you want to choose." And I'm like, watch what happens.
Well, you called this already last week because you had said, you know, they've got a girl in there who could be in Alpha Academy, which is Ivy Nile. And I'm like, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, oh, this is happening. Big D already called this one. Told you so. I'm telling you, man.
But yeah,
you're too good at this.
So we had American Made versus Alpha Academy, which I'm kind of iffy on their theme music for American Made. I think it's maybe I couldn't hear it. I have to pull it up on like Apple Music or something and listen to it. But I couldn't really hear it that well during the intro. But they came out. They had a pretty good match. I was a fan of this match because it was a Texas Tornado match, and I love and miss Texas Tornado matches. Little fact about me is that when I used to play the old school Raw games, I'd always choose Texas Tornado tag match as my match type because it is so much fun. All 4 men at the ring at the same time, and they just, you know, it's just havoc. It's just all kinds of nonsense going on, which was fun. No DQ, no countouts. They just, you know, went to town. But this was all a setup because obviously the leader of American Made, Chad Gable, was in Paris recruiting. I think he was just at the Olympic Games, which is awesome because he's a wrestler, obviously, former Olympic wrestler, so that's awesome. But he was out there at the Olympics recruiting, and so he left the Creed brothers to kind of do their thing. And they did win. It was just a quick win on Akira Tozawa, but this was all to set up A distraction caused by Ivy Nile attacking Maxine Dupree, and she tore into her. And I mean, I'm sorry, but I know Maxine Dupree is wrestling as well, and she does do well. She has some pretty good moveset stuff, but that is such a mismatch between Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree. She just tore into her, and that's what it did. So they showed the newest member, which we all knew because the Creeds always had, and they had callbacks to the Diamond Mine and all that good stuff from NXT, and so. There's a lot of NXT references throughout Raw and callbacks, and even on SmackDown because
NXT's moving to champions were all ringside.
Yeah, but because NXT's moving to CW, I think they're trying to beef it up a little bit so people can get the viewership up. So that'd be interesting. But yeah, so that's what ended up happening there. I don't know how you felt about the match.
Yeah, the match was good. I didn't like the surprise roll up at the end, but I know they always got to get one of those in. The one thing, the best spot for me was Otis kind of hitting that. He hit the superplex on Brutus while he was on Julius's shoulders. Yeah. That was cool.
They're trying to set up the Brutus bomb. The Brutus bomb.
They're trying to set the Brutus bomb, and he got the suplex. It was that was great. There was one weird comment that I know they love doing now. They love doing callbacks to old gimmicks. At one point, Michael Cole talking about Otis goes, Otis, this big, heavy machinery type of competitor, and I was like, it came out so awkward and forced. I'm like, we all know he was in heavy machinery on WWE programming. What? Why would you throw out that reference? It was so
that was an odd one. Yeah,
they really shoehorned it in, and so as soon as I heard it, I was like, so that took me out of that a little bit. But they tried a little too hard. But the match itself was good. It finished with but
yeah, exactly. After that, we had Damage Control against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark for the Women's Tag Team #1 Contenders match. It actually ended in a no contest, is what they're putting it as.
And it's now a triple threat, for the title, right? Because when it ended, I was like, obviously this is a triple threat for the title. And then, maybe 30 minutes later, it was it's been announced.
Just make a trios title already. I mean, that's just what they need to do. But
Stark and Baszler are now the Pure Fusion Collective?
Yes, I was about to say, and they have a new name, Pure Fusion Collective. That's Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville.
Worst name ever. It doesn't roll off the tongue. It doesn't sound the Pure Fusion Collective. I hated it so much.
Even abbreviated, it sounds like a gym. The PFC.
Yeah, PFC. The PFC. Well, I don't think I heard them talk about. I don't think I heard them say it on commentary. I just saw it on the Chiron when it came up, and I was like, "Huh." And,
they did say it. They said it in the beginning. I think it was Pat McAfee or was it Michael Cole? They said it, but again, they had to slow down when they said it because it's such a tongue twister. And I'm like, Sonya,
Pure Fusion Collect. It's remember to enunciate, everyone. It's just it's the worst, God. Terrible. They got to read.
They're probably going to change that.
American Made sounds incredible.
Compared to
Pure Fusion Collection, Pure Collective. See, I can't even get it right.
Collective, or Coalition. Collective. I don't know. One of the collective, sure.
It'll be renamed in a couple of weeks. Hopefully it will.
Yeah. After that, we had Gunther doing heel things, talking trash about Randy Orton's family, which of course you don't do because that's Cowboy Bob Orton, man. And so calling them screw ups and this and that, all that for Randy Orton to hit an RKO from out of nowhere, where he, even after the week before, Gunther said, "I'll always see it coming." Well, he didn't.
Yeah.
So
he didn't take him this time. Well, in fairness, Drew McIntyre interrupted, and so he got a distraction from Drew. So I'll give him that one. But you can't turn your back on the Viper.
I guess, but again, back to the whole theme of giving or leading into things. CM Punk, of course, comes out to attack Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre takes his belt off, I guess, in an attempt to whip Punk, but Punk takes it away and starts whipping him. And as he's doing that, I'm like, they're going to have a strap match. Cut to backstage, CM Punk, some random person runs into the freaking boxes. I don't know what happened there. I didn't rewind it to see.
Well, he hit something, and he turns around and looks, and I was like, what happened? And
yeah, me too. So I guess some drunken idiot saying I got backstage.
Was I was like,
so CM Punk.
So CM Punk, you and I were sitting on a plane together, and I was like, where
we weren't delayed.
You were telling everyone you were delayed, but I'm pretty sure that was you. He's like, yeah, we talked for 45 minutes on the plane.
That was the dumbest thing to say. I swear to God.
It was so ridiculous, and even Punk was kind of smiling a little bit. I was like, "So
he was like,
have broken the
really?
story? Like Punk couldn't make it. Wouldn't she go? Oh no, he was on my flight. He's totally here.
Drew, he was on my flight. I sat right next to him.
I sat right next to him. He was totally here. Like,
but then of course
he's delayed. Let me talk to Adam Pearce.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna talk to Adam Pearce. I have an idea on how to settle this, and he has the belt in his hand. I'm like, yeah, strap match. There we go. Which I'm not complaining about it. I love me a good old strap match. Some people don't like them because they tend to be a little brutal, and those things hurt. And so there's gonna be blood. There's gonna be welts. There's gonna be bruising, and it's gonna be glorious. But yeah, that's what I mean. It's a dead
good.
giveaway.
I think it's honestly going to be the best thing that they can do with CM Punk. CM Punk's pretty limited right now, so I feel like you gotta go with stuff that's a little more eye popping, and I think that gimmick it'll help the match for him.
I agree. I mean, he looks great as far as physical fitness. Like, I mean, he looks great. We're not saying that he doesn't. He looks great. But again,
we saw him. He got pretty blown up at SummerSlam.
Yeah, exactly. Like, conditioning's a whole other animal, right? And I mean, who knows? Maybe he's gotten better. Maybe he's been working out, getting better. Probably. I mean, he had an injury.
I'm gonna doubt it
because
it's CM Punk, and I hate CM Punk, so I'm going on.
Who knows?
Going on record.
But yeah, strap match is going to be
smoking
wild.
Cigarettes and drinking coffee, and he'll have a strap match
with whiskey in the coffee, Irish coffee. Why don't you?
Irish.
But yes,
that's CM Punk's training plan.
But my curiosity lies in: is this going to be at Bash in Berlin? I feel it'd be better suited at Bad Blood because you can build it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I feel if you do Bash in Berlin, it's going to be a little rushed because it's like in 2 weeks. So I'm hoping it's for Bad Blood. That would be a great match to see in Bad Blood, right? This is where the blow off match happens between them, and one of them's going home in an ambulance. I hope. Speaking of going home in an ambulance. We have Bronson Reed versus The Miz because R-Truth got him into that match backstage, being the hilarious R-Truth that he is. So CM Punk the whole way down just mad, just pouting like a kid about to go to punishment. And rightfully so, because, he put up a good fight, of course, because it's The Miz against Bronson Reed. But, of course, Bronson Reed hit him with the tsunami. And, of course, here comes the refs again to get in front of Bronson Reed. And I'm like, didn't we learn last week? Just pull them, and that's what R-Truth goes and how are the officials when R-Truth is the only one that can think, you know what? Let me pull my guy to the other side of the ring, where he's safer, and Bronson Reed can't reach him, so he does that. But then he starts getting punished. The only thing I was hoping would happen, and maybe not yet, but right before this match, they had Mark Henry ringside with his son.
Yeah. With his son.
And his son had just, I think they said an NIL deal, but I'm guessing because he's going to be in the WWE. Yeah. How awesome would it have been if Mark Henry would have come out and climbed over and caught Bronson Reed and hit him with the world's strongest slam? Yeah.
It would have been
that would have been cool.
Well,
but then I don't know if he's contracted to fight. I don't know if he's in the right health set to fight and stuff. I know he's an old strongman competitor, in powerlifting, so those injuries tend to come when you're older. So I hope maybe he can't. But yeah, that would have been awesome. But yeah, that's what we had. Bronson Reed again just being built at this mega heel.
He got built and he hit R-Truth with like 6 tsunamis. So R-Truth took it for his buddy, but then the refs didn't pull R-Truth out, which that's what bugged me.
He literally showed them how to do it.
Yeah, he showed them how to do that, and then they're doing the whole no, and they pulled him to the other side, and then he just walks around to the other turnbuckle, and they're like, "Oh, we're out of ideas." It's like,
he figured us out. Foiled
again. Out of the ring. So nobody learned from last week, and this tells me that R-Truth must have some vacation time coming up because you can't have Seth Rollins get murdered and then R-Truth not miss extended periods of time because the same thing happened to him. So that's why I was like, I guess they're trying to write him off of television. Yeah. And the next week when somebody else gets hit with 6 tsunamis, it's because they need some time off. I guess so. So they've continued this.
That's the line for PTO.
I know, right? It felt to me like they're trying really hard to make people despise Bronson Reed. So who better to have him mangle than R-Truth? Everyone loves R-Truth. So, and why didn't anybody from the locker room run down to help? R-Truth feels like he's more universally loved. That
you know what?
Other wrestlers come
of all times, I never thought I'd ever say this watching Raw. I'm like, where the hell is Almas?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to build a giant? Go get Bronson Reed. Go.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, I don't know. They're slow walking it. Maybe we'll see him next week. I don't know.
he's still walking down to the ring. We'll see. Oh, geez. But yeah, so who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, obviously they're building up Bronson Reed for something big, and of course, I like it. I like seeing new blood coming in, and Bronson Reed has the makings of a great heel. Just the looks and the way he's just aggressive. I like his style. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. But then after that, we had our main event of the evening, which was my match of the night, the Intercontinental Championship. This was
the match of the night. I said the other one was almost. This is
and Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn, 2 out of 3 falls match, and it delivered. I mean, I was very excited to see it. I'm glad we didn't see like when they try to do like a quick roll up pin for the first fall. That's usually what happens in the 2 out of 3. They just try to get a quick roll up to try and get a first one, but they fought, and Sami Zayn hit a haluva kick from like out of nowhere practically. It was interesting. I think Bronson was running the ropes if I'm not mistaken, and Sami caught him right with a haluva kick, hit the pin 1, 2, 3. And I thought that was great. That was a great way to get the first fall in. Of course, Bronson Reed hits him again a little bit later after that. I think it was about a 20 minute match. It was a good.
Yeah, it was 20 minutes because I was worried when I saw it. I was like, there's only 20 minutes for 3 falls. This is going to, or 2 out of 3. And I'm like,
but they didn't feel rushed.
Really interesting. It didn't feel rushed. They actually spaced it really well.
Yeah. Bronson Reed got the second fall.
Oh, Braun Breaker. I was like, not Bronson
I'm sorry,
Reed,
Braun Breaker. I'm still on Bronson Reed.
We got too many Brauns.
I said this before. We have too many Brauns. Braun Strowman's going to come out too, just to make it a trio. But anyways, the Brauns. But that would be a good match.
Mr. Breaker. Yeah, Braun versus Braun versus Braun. Brains versus
the winner
Braun.
keeps the name. The other ones change their names. But anyway. But Braun Breaker gets the second fall, and after that it was just a battle to try and get. There's lots of kickouts, lots of near falls. The crowd was super behind it. This was a very hot match, and it made me very happy to see it. Obviously Braun Breaker hits a spear again with. I think it was a midair spear.
Sami jumped off the top rope and he hit him midair and caught him.
Yeah,
so it was a great.
That's
finish.
what ended the match. Yeah, and the crowd. I was very happy to see the Intercontinental title defended in a match like this in the main event with high stakes, and it was just it was well
and a clean
done.
Win
and
for Braun too, because you worry when they do the heel thing that they're gonna have some controversy or they're gonna have interference or gonna have a disqualification. I'm like, they didn't do anything like that. He won clean. He looked great. He looked really strong in it. Sami obviously looked pretty strong in it too. Like this is really good.
Yeah, they needed to do it this way for Braun, and I think it's a good build for him because he is a heel, but he's super over. They even did the camera thing with him, where the camera follows him out, and he kind of was like, kind of breaking the fourth wall, kind of saying, "Oh, people like this angle because you get to see." I guess people talk about how they're gonna do stuff, but I'm not. I'm more of a show. I walk the walk, or I'm more to show than to talk or whatever. And then he asks, "Is there any Austin? Is there any dogs in the house?" And you just hear the whole crowd erupt and barking, which was awesome to see and hear. Yeah. It was. Braun Breaker's doing great. I think I like the build. I like that they haven't pushed him to like a world title yet. I know it's inevitable. He'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But I like it as Intercontinental Champion. I like him as the way they're building him, and he's doing a great job. So again, that was my match of the night. Overall, I give Raw maybe about I would say B-, only because there was a lot of talking. Of talking and just things intertwining with each other. Like I wasn't a fan of the no contest to turn a tag team championship match into a triple threat. I think that was dumb.
Yeah.
It's tag team titles. Then telegraphing all the stuff. I like to kind of be surprised in my wrestling, and a lot of these have been very readable. And then just the silliness, like I said, with like Bronson Reed, how like R-Truth literally showed them how to pull out of the way, and the refs just stood there doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Adam Pearce supposedly tried to kick him out, and he still went and did it anyway. There's no repercussions there. So, yeah, I don't know. I B-, but again, I was entertained. It was a fun show. I loved the main event.
Yeah. The main event was really good. There's just some inconsistencies throughout the show. I give it a B- as well. We only got one video for the Wyatt Six, which was just essentially Uncle Howdy saying that their work isn't done yet, which I guess they're done with American Made, because after the American Made match, like there wasn't the lights going out and they didn't.
They're going to move on to their next victim.
So they're moving on. So I was like, we're not really getting any of the Wyatt Six on Monday night for
really.
this week. So it's a B show for me. But the main event was excellent. I will say that.
Exactly. And with that, we go right on over to SmackDown.
Friday Night SmackDown on Fox for now. Almost done.
Almost gonna be USA.
Moving over to USA, and then NXT's moving over to CW.
CW.
So lots of bouncing around. SmackDown opened with Tiffany Stratton doing the Nia Jax celebration. This is kind of a funky segment for me. It just didn't play very well because it was Tiffany and Pretty Deadly. Nia got carried out like royalty with the jobbers dressed as security, the local wrestling talent. Guys that dressed as security, carrying her out with their arms shaking like this. They're all like, trying to hold her up. I'm just kidding. They didn't have any problems holding her up. They carried her down to the ring, and then she. I laughed a little bit because Wade Barrett was saying that the presentation of Queen Nia beat anything that the British Royals have ever done. Like trying to say it with sincerity. He's like, this is the most amazing celebration, the greatest spectacle I've ever seen. And I'm just kind of like laughing the whole time, thinking, I can't believe they made you say that, Wade. And then it was just kind of awkward where Nia was like, hey, the celebration's not really my style, and bow down to me. And she's like, huh? And then like right after that, before she had a chance to bow down, Michin like jumped in with a kendo stick and beat everybody up, so it prevented that. But it just felt the pacing was odd. The song by Pretty Deadly wasn't very funny, and they're just sowing the seeds for, clearly there's going to be a rift between Tiffany and Nia Jax. This just felt like an odd turn where Tiffany's always been the one kind of, you can tell there's something there, and just Nia doing this whole like, you need to bow to me, and I don't like this celebration, was a little out of character for what they've done so far. So I was just like so on this one.
Yeah, she kind of came in with attitude on it, obviously, because she's cautious about it. But I'll tell you what, I never thought I'd say this, but we need Tiffany Stratton and Pretty Deadly to be a trio. They need to be a faction. They have because they're so freaking awesome together. Like, I love it. They go so well together. So yes, WWE, if you ever hear this through anywhere, we need them as a faction because it's hilarious. I love it. So yeah, it was all pink and white, which obviously is not Nia's thing. She always wears black. No. She's always all about destruction, this and that. And so
she was wearing a total like white jumpst with a crown for this one though. That's why I was like, you're not really wearing your style while you're.
I'm like, you're wearing a pink sash, dude. Like. Just saying, like, but yeah. So I mean, this is all obviously a setup because you're having her to tell Tiffany Stratton to bow down to her, which was funny because she was like, "Well, they'll bow down to you right now. We'll all do it together." I'm like, "No, they already did. Pretty Deadly already did. As soon as she walked in the ring, they like took a knee." And so, but again, this goes back to like what I was saying. They're gonna have Tiffany Stratton turn on Nia. Maybe Nia's becoming aware of the fact that that's something that will happen, so she's just kind of being protective of herself. But again, Michin to come out of nowhere, they say Michin's been, her and Michin have had their differences, so I think this is going to be the next feud. I feel this is going to be a distraction so that Tiffany Stratton can cash in, but we'll see what happens.
Well, because they've already got the world title match for Michin lined up for, I think, I don't know if it's next week or the Bash of Berlin.
No, it's next
later
week.
on in the show.
Yeah.
Because later on in the show, she came out and was like, I've got a title match. And I'm like, do they start teasing the cash in next week? It won't happen next week. But I wonder if they're gonna start teasing the potential for it.
It's next week. I just checked right now. Bash in Berlin has the mixed tag match, Cody and KO and Randy and Gunther right now. The only thing they have in stone.
Yeah, which means they get like one more match or something. They keep those like down to like 4 or 5 matches. They're pretty small. Right after that, we got Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill talking about getting the tag titles back, which I'm like, you guys aren't even part of that tag trio matchup. Like, stop. We're going to get our world tag titles back. They just keep saying that every single week.
Starting to sound like Pinky and the Brain.
I know. It's
same thing we do every night,
Pinky. Take over the world. And then Carmelo Hayes interjected to ask if they were going his after party, and they're like, you keep losing to Andrade. And he's like, I'll show you. And then we went right into Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes again, which was a really great match.
Amazing match.
They're both great wrestlers. They both have great chemistry.
Yeah.
Tons of near falls in this one. Tons of reversals in this one. I will say Carmelo being down 2-0 against Andrade pretty much telegraphed that he wouldn't lose here.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to have him win.
He had to win.
So it made sense. He got the pin on, it was like a reversal on a sunset flip where he just kind of sat down on Andrade and hooked his legs and won. So even though it was a surprise roll up, I was okay with it because it was more of a counter out of it, and he won clean. Like there was no shenanigans. It was a clean win in a hard fought match that had a ton of great spots in it. I really loved it. This was my match of the night, kind of out of the gate as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, I love this being the first actual wrestling match of the night because they set the bar so high. Andrade, an amazing wrestler. Carmelo Hayes, an amazing athlete and wrestler as well. It was great, and I liked the whole. They kept him in character where he won, and it looked like for a minute there they were gonna kind of be like, they were gonna show like good sportsmanship, but then Carmelo was just like talking trash and gloating. So then Andrade just attacked him, and they just started going at each other. Which again, pull apart brawl always sets up the next feud, which is going to be great. I'm hoping maybe the next one, Andrade out of frustration, maybe he loses the next one next week, and then they set up something at Bad Blood, so that they can have some kind of like maybe, I don't know, 2 out of 3 falls or something to that extent. Something with bitter stakes, maybe a Falls Count Anywhere match would be insane with these guys. Something like that would be awesome. Or bring out like a traditional luchador match. That would be awesome too. But yeah, I love it. This was close. This when it first started, I said this was going to be my match of the night, but then another match happened that changed my mind. So, but again, it was very, very close, but I really, really liked it. So
yeah, it was good stuff. And then right after that, we got the teasers for the I always call it the main event. The main events on SmackDown are always talking and not wrestling. So setting up the main event with Solo and Tama Tonga talking about, Tama's going to rip apart Roman. And so it's like, hey, if he becomes the tribal chief again, then they all have to acknowledge him, to be continued. We got another Giovanni Vinci promo. He got a promo last week I failed to mention. As he went from being a lackey for Imperium who always took pinfalls and losses to now he's apparently a globetrotting Playboy millionaire with a Tony
He's the
Stark
baller
beard.
shot caller.
And he's the baller shot caller now. And I'm kind of like, what happened? Because I don't remember you being a billionaire Playboy awesome guy that could beat everybody. You were the one who always took the losses for Imperium. So we'll see how that all looks. He's Giovanni Vinci. Ding.
But they say Vinny Vici. I'm like, okay.
Vinny Vici. And then he gets out in his like Lamborghini or something. So it's we'll see how that goes. After that, we got Naomi and versus Blair Davenport. And then with this one, we had Roxanne Perez ringside, but she didn't do anything. Like they just kept saying, "Hey, we got the NXT people ringside for every single match." This one, I hope this wasn't your match of the night, Big D.
No.
This one was somewhat sloppy throughout. Blair hit like I love they said it was an unintentional double stomp senton combo. When she just kind of fell down. It's like she did double stomp and just kind of fell on her butt and landed on top of her. And then after that, Naomi went for a head scissors that Blair kind of awkwardly sold. It just wasn't super fluid. It was fine. And then Blair won somewhat anticlimactically. She kind of hit a stomp to the belly and then a knee to the face that didn't look particularly devastating and just won. It was like, wow, that knee will beat anyone. I was like, knee kind of looked pretty pedestrian. And so it was a clean win for back-to-back matches, the heels winning clean. This one was just kind of a so-so match for me.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's supposed to be like a blow-off match to a feud, but I mean, it really didn't seem that way to me, which is a shame because Naomi's a much better wrestler than she gets credit for. And I think, I don't know, Blair was just nervous. And the fact that they were like, we're the hometown hero, Naomi, I'm like, yeah, she's losing.
She's losing.
I mean, you can't win in your hometown. Who do you think you are, Cody?
I know. It can't be done. It can't be done. If you're betting on it like 9 times out of 10, the hometown person's going to lose. And then after this, we had Grayson Waller versus KO, and this was set up the previous week. They had just a real rambling backstage segment, too, where it was just like Grayson Waller talking about KO with his back turned, not realizing KO was standing behind him the whole time. And then KO just rambled too long about, yes, I know I'm a loser. I know I'm a loser. Did you know I'm a loser? I know that I'm a loser. Let's go fight. And you'll see how much of a loser I am. You'll probably beat me because I know I'm a loser. And it was just like, did you like forget your train of thought? Like, did you forget what your promo was? And then he was just like walked out and his music hit. And we got Waller versus KO. And it was kind of a brawl initially, a lot of outside the ring activity. And then they eventually got back in the ring. Austin Theory wasn't much of a factor in this, even though he was ringside. He didn't help. He didn't really do anything. He got taken out at one point, like during the initial brawl, and he got thrown over the barricade, and then just never came back.
He probably just sat down.
yeah, he was just like, and that's where I was kind of waiting for the whole, is this him kind of getting back at Waller because of all the
Just letting him get beat.
Letting it beat, but they didn't really pan that one out. KO did win this one. He hit the stunner and then hit a pop-up powerbomb to finish it off. And then the beatdown started at that point where Waller and Theory jumped in and to take him out. And then Cody Rhodes runs down for the save and has a chair. And I kind of expected that, maybe KO was going to go after Cody at one point. There was a moment where he's kind of standing behind Cody had cleared the ring and he was standing behind him and he was kind of double clutching the chair a little bit. And then just puts it down. And then he goes and grabs the title off the ground, which kind of caused the crowd to go, "Ooh!" And then KO just hands it back to him. So I'm wondering, are they hinting at I know I'd mentioned this before. I'm like, do they do a heel turn with KO at this point? And after this one, I thought, I think maybe they are.
Yeah, I agree because the match was just really to set this up, right? You had Cody come out and help him out, and KO, again, looking at the chair, holding on to it tight, and then honestly, I would have been happy with him handing the title, then hitting a stunner, and then just leaving.
Yeah,
that probably would have just said plenty with doing minimal, But I think they're holding on to it. I think maybe right before Bash at Berlin, maybe at the go home is where you'll see KO, kind of maybe do something to Cody and get that heel heat so they make it a face and heel dynamic. But even if they don't, KO just does such a great job of skating that line between face and heel that I think it's going to be great regardless. I'm looking forward to the match, honestly. And it's, obviously I'm pretty sure Cody's going to retain, but it's too early still, unfortunately. Yeah. But he has a lot of unfinished business with Bloodline and whatnot. But I think it'll be a great match. I think KO will turn eventually before Bash at Berlin or Bash in Berlin. Sorry, but I like that match was really just to set that up, and I think they are teasing to the whole Austin Theory and Grayson Waller because the only reason he jumped in at the end was because obviously the match was over. Because he could have jumped in a number of times. He stood there and watched as Grayson Waller was gloating, and he's standing there looking at KO just get up and get him.
Yeah, he could have warned him. He could have done something.
Yeah. He hollered from the back, but come on, it's So I think that's what's going to happen too. That's going to be a blow off soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I think so. And then right after this, we got two promos. We got the Legado del Fantasma, the pre-shot promo in a restaurant, which they haven't done in a long time. And it was basically just Santos saying, "Hey guys, we're losing our edge. It's time to remind people who we are," sort of thing. Which I was like, good, because we used to like those promos. And then right after that, we got a live promo with LA Knight because he's on the other half of this.
At the entryway.
Standing at the entry, which I half expected somebody to run down and get him because that's happened so many times. So he's standing at the entryway doing the promo to hype up because they've got their U.S. title match next week because it's from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Basically, just made fun of Santos. This is a short promo too. He made fun of Santos, threatened to quote knock his churro into the dirt, which is that's racist. And then he walked away, and everybody went nuts for it. So that match is next week. Looking forward to that one. And then that brought us to the number one contenders match for the tag titles, which was our main event wrestling-wise, Street Profits versus DIY. So I take it that this was your match of the night.
It sure was.
Versus Grayson Waller.
It really was. Yeah, it was Street Profits DIY. This match was a lot of fun.
Yeah, take us through it since it was your match of the night. What was your favorite parts?
Honestly, a lot of it was, it's just they worked very well together. There's different aspects of it, right? You go in thinking DIY is going to win because they're the ones who lost their tag titles. And of course, back to the whole hometown person thing, they lost them in Ohio, in Cleveland. Which is Johnny Gargano's hometown. He lost his title in his hometown. So anyways, I think that's going to fuel them. Street Profits have been on an incline, going back up now. They got B-Fab on their corner now, which she's kind of been like their hype person, their hype manager, which is a good spot for her. She's very good on the mic. She can talk very well. She does wrestle. People may not think that she doesn't, but she really does. She's actually pretty good too. But it was good to see the athleticism of Montez Ford. Angelo Dawkins has gotten so much better in the ring. He used to be gassed out, but now he's so much better. There was multiple moments throughout the match. Like one of them when Angelo Dawkins was knocked over by Johnny Gargano on one side and Montez Ford knocked Tommaso Ciampa out on the other side. And they both kind of looked at each other, Gargano and Montez. They looked at each other and they both did a double, like an in-sync suicide dive on each other's partner. Like I thought that was pretty cool because they're like taking out each other's partners. And then you also had, a lot of the high flying that Montez does and a lot of the power moves. I love that they do the blockbuster as a finisher now. There's a lot of near falls.
Super blockbuster.
Yeah, the super blockbuster. There's a lot of near falls, which I'm a big fan of near falls because when it comes to something like this, where you have a team that's on the uprise and you have a team that has a lot to prove, you don't know who's going to win. And the near falls are great because I think a lot of people may not like them, but I'm a fan of near falls mainly because what they do is they create that doubt. Like when I think Tommaso Ciampa hit the fairy tale ending with a super kick. So he picked up Angelo Dawkins, held him up, which is a lot of strength to hold him up. And Johnny Gargano hits a super kick right on the chin. Even on the replay, he hit him square in the chin and drops him with the fairy tale ending. I'm like, that's it. And I thought either Montez was going to have to get in there and do something, but Angelo Dawkins barely kicks out. There was a lot of super near falls. I think there was one where the ref's hand was about to hit the mat and Johnny Gargano just flies in to break up the pinfall. Of course, the match ends with the super blockbuster where Angelo Dawkins, they clear the ring. Angelo Dawkins picks up Johnny Gargano and then tags in Montez Ford and gets in position for the super blockbuster. And you see Tommaso Ciampa run in for another save and just a second too late. I love those kind of finishes because it doesn't make DIY look weak. It makes it look like they were almost there. Like they just had it. And that's what made it match of the night for me. The psychological part of it where like they've been trying to climb back up and claw their way back to another title match. And they were almost there. And it was taken away from them just shortly by the Street Profits, who are well deserving of another tag team run, in my opinion. And now we're going to have Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga versus Street Profits. That is going to be an insane match. There's going to be a lot of high flying because of Jacob Fatu. If he's at 100%. They say that's next week, so we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Well, I know we'll get into the main event segment here in a bit, but
we'll get into that.
It should be a banger of a match just because of the fact that, these two teams, they're going to put in, it's good wrestling. It's not like they got Tongaloa. That guy was missing, thank God. But, I mean, at the same time, I think this is going to be a very fun match to watch. If they do drop the titles, I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be as surprised because it's the Street Profits and they're taking a rise up. The only thing I could think of is DIY comes out and intervenes, and then they make it a triple threat at Bash in Berlin. That'd be your fourth match. I hope they don't
because they do that.
I really don't. Yeah, I hope they don't either. But I mean, we've hoped stuff before, and Logan Paul still. Yeah. So I mean,
no, it was a really great match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It does feel like they're kind of teasing the breakup of DIY to me a little bit. Yeah. Just because they had them lose the title so quickly and then fail to climb the mountain, and we kind of saw that animosity with Tommaso Ciampa a few times where he like refused to shake somebody's hand. I don't remember who it was. He refused to shake hands after one. So they've been kind of sowing that. There was a moment where where Gargano and Ciampa inadvertently collided with each other.
Yeah.
So they're kind of hinting at maybe their chemistry is falling apart a little bit. Maybe Ciampa's going to do a heel turn. So I'm wondering if that's where they're going with this too, which would be a shame because DIY is a great team and I would rather see them together. But to your point, Street Profits versus the Bloodline should be great. I'm sure Jacob seems like he's okay, which that'll take us into our main event of the evening, which is the main event promo of SmackDown time, with Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga head out to the ring. Solo, of course, asked Orlando to acknowledge him. He didn't ask, he demanded. And then they did not. Instead, they rained down the OTC chants, which I always think of over the counter, like Prilosec OTC. Yeah. That's in my head every time I hear OTC now. And then Solo said only one man needed to acknowledge him, and so he called out Roman Reigns, and if he wanted the Ula Fala back, he should come take it. And then Roman obliged, strolled on down to the ring with the crowd acknowledging Roman. And then Solo handed the Ula Fala, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, to Tama, and then the brawl was on with Roman. Roman got the upper hand. Tama jumped in, tried to take Roman out, and then Roman took him out. And then Solo got Roman from behind when he attempted to, he was trying to put Tama Tonga through the announce table, and then went for a Samoan spike. which Roman countered with a Superman punch and then hit a spear. And then he did pick up the Ula follow. So he got it and he put it on. So I'm like, oh, it's done. He's the tribal chief again. He technically won. But then Jacob Fatu blindsided him. Which this was a little bit of a bummer to me because he hit him with a super kick, then like hit him with punches and just absolutely wrecked him. Like he did what he did to everybody else. He did what he did to Cody and everybody else, and completely wrecked Roman. And Roman didn't come back from it. And then Tama, Jacob, and Solo did that kind of triple shield power bomb through the announce table like they've done to everyone else, and then rolled him back in the ring to stand tall over. I was a little. I don't know. I had mixed feelings about this because they still have Jacob as this completely unstoppable. So then Jacob should be the tribal chief at this point because nobody.
He's the enforcer.
He can enforce himself as the tribal chief because no one can stop him. He is like Superman, which means no one should ever be able to take the tag titles off of the Bloodline because he is like Superman. So, and I guess for me, they kept talking about, hey, if he gets the Ula Fala and puts it on, then you have to acknowledge him. And then, of course, as soon as he did, of course they didn't, which is obvious. You know, this is their opportunity to kind of put some seeds of doubt into Roman. I feel like they shouldn't have done it this early. Like, it felt really quick for him to be like, oh, Roman's going to need some help, and this is why Roman's going to have to go get his buddies, and we'll see if it's Jay or Jimmy or how they're going to do this. So mixed feelings on it as SmackDown went off the air. But
so, yeah, I mean, I was hoping more for actual fight, a brawl, not necessarily a brawl, right? I mean, obviously outnumbered, the numbers game are going to win every single time. I think it was owed or due just because Roman, you know, the 2 times he's come out, he just cleans house and walks away unscathed. And so this is kind of like his receipt, right? Now you have Jacob Fatu's back, and he's like, okay, now that they're almost at full strength. Again, they're missing Tangaloa, but like they're almost at full strength. They took out Roman Reigns, but it took all 3. And I think that's the story that they're telling here, is that it took a village to take down one man. And with that, I can see the Usos reuniting because Jay isn't really doing much besides hyping up Sami Zayn backstage on Raw.
That's true.
But I think it'd be great to hear that old school, that Usos entrance song again, and then they both come out for the save with Roman. I think that'll set up a great one. And again, they're still a man short, whether that's The Rock or Zilla Fatu. We've been seeing a lot of Zilla Fatu. I think he was at an actual show one time in the crowd. Yeah, I think, you know, whether it's Zilla or whether it's, you know, The Rock, to kind of even the odds. Maybe it'll culminate at Bad Blood now that, you know, Roman got laid out. That's where I think they're going to go with it. They may not wait until Survivor Series. Maybe they'll do a War Games match. I mean, I don't know when. I forgot when War Games is. I think it's coming up too. But maybe it'll be a War Games match. I don't know. But it'll be great. The blow off is going to be really, really, really good. So I'm a fan of Jacob Fatu. I really do like Jacob. I think he's awesome. I think he's a great, great athlete. He's very physical. I don't know. He reminds me the most of Umaga, aside from Zilla. Yeah. But he reminds me the most of Umaga, the way he just comes out and just tears up. So I'm excited to see what they do next week. I'm going to be watching. I was a fan of this segment. I think it was owed. I think it was due. Because, again, the whole story is it took all of them to take down one man. And I think now that he's going to have backup.
It's a good point. I mean, for me, I was like, they've got Jacob just as the Terminator now. Like, nobody.
Well, he's wearing a boot, too.
Yeah. Oh, and the way that they built him up, it's like he's an unstoppable killing machine. He can't be stopped. And so that's where I have a little bit of a hard time with him just running through everybody, including Roman. It's like at least let Roman fend him off a little bit,
get some offense in.
But I get it. Get some. But I mean, it was a great segment in the sense that I want to see what happens next. So that's what they've accomplished with it. So. Yeah, that was Friday Night SmackDown. I'll give SmackDown give it a B+.
I'm about there.
It's good. It's a solid show.
A little bit better than Raw. Show. Yeah, there's more wrestling. Yeah. Honestly, the Carmelo Hayes Andrade match and the number 1 contender tag match between DIY and Street Profits were excellent. Amazing. Yeah, great way to start it. Great way to end it. You know, the first wrestling match of the night was great. The last wrestling match of the night was great. Although both ended in odd ways, but yeah.
The stuff in between was okay. and the closing segment was very compelling. So, overall solid stuff. So yeah, that was it for Raw and SmackDown, everybody. Lots of stuff to talk about upcoming this week. We got a U.S. title match coming up, and then fast approaching the Bash at Berlin, which is not the Bash at the beach. There are no beaches in Berlin that I know of. Maybe there are. I don't know. I think it's
maybe.
Geography is not my strong suit.
Same.
But looking forward to that coming up. Thanks again, everyone, for all your support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff. Leave your comments if you agree with us, disagree with us, or just want to talk about wrestling. We appreciate the support as always. But that's what we got this week. So until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and we will see you.